Folks, welcome back to the CCL Alpha stream. We've had plenty of strong matches between top 25 teams. They never went any way that I would have thought they did. Plenty of 3-0s, and I think that's just absurd. Once again, it's myself, Seymour, alongside Cruisin' on the mic here to bring you this last matchup of the day. We got the number 9 Texas State Bobcats going up against the number 8 Westcliff Warriors, Jesse. And honestly, this one's looking great.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams are looking extremely even. Like you said, we got the number 8 versus the number 9 seed. Can't really complain about that. We're going to have a great matchup between these two teams. And honestly, looking at these two teams, I mean, the fact that you've had one team with a loss, one team without a loss, they're both practically undefeated going up to this point. I think the only difference really between the two teams is the fact that Texas State has come into this one and they've actually played a top 10 team. Outside of that, Westcliff hasn't yet. So, I mean, this is realistically one first big test for Westcliff now.
One big test inside of a pool of deadly other tests that you're going to have to go up against. When you're looking at the Western Division Tier 1 in general, Jesse, I mean, this division looks like the one that you don't want to be in right now. It's crazy to see how many Titans you're going to have to go up against.
Yeah, it's going to be a gauntlet, that's for sure. I mean, you've got Ottawa number 3, Grand Canyon number 4, St. Edward's number 6, ICC number 7, Westcliff number 8, and then obviously Texas State number 9. And then obviously now we also just had ASU come away with the number 11 win in our last matchup, or the number 11 team came away with a win over our number 6 team. So you got to imagine that they're going to be cracking into that top 10 again next week as well, inside of the CCL top 10, or inside of the CCL top 25, I should say. So, I mean, it's looking like it's going to be an absolutely ridiculous group to try to get out of.
I mean, I'm so stoked to see how everything shakes up inside of the top 25 for CCL. But let's take a look at the head-to-head between both of these teams. We got the Westcliff Warriors and the Texas State Bobcats. Not a whole lot drastically different from these two, even though the Warriors haven't lost a match when you're looking at the numbers. There's just a little bit more to prove for the Bobcats, Jesse. And really, when you're looking at it, something to really highlight between the two of them, undefeated in control.
Yeah, that's a big one to look at. And I mean, I know we've seen the maps and modes, and we'll get more into them when we get down to that one. But I don't think that it's going to be as clear cut as the stat kind of shows right now, where you see that Texas State has actually lost a match. Like I said, I feel like Westcliff just hasn't fully been tested yet this season, but they've looked very good. So that's why you see them as the number 8 ranked team. But this is really going to be their first set. And honestly, like, I agree with you. Yes, the Texas State, I think they've got a lot to prove coming into this one, but I think so does Westcliff. I think Westcliff needs to prove to everybody that has them inside the top 10 right now to stay inside of this top 10 at the moment.
Well, let's see this Westcliff Warriors roster with a ton to prove inside that. Like you say, Jesse, we'll introduce them as a very core squad of 4. We got Stoners, Beeston, Locke, and Lucasi. An interesting team when you're looking at them. You got a bunch of chemistry within them, you know. Stoners, Beaston, and Locke playing not only in the CCL, but outside of that, all placing like usually top 23 inside challengers, losing to the top 8 teams. And inside of CCL, it looks like they've brought that now to the Collegiate League.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever you have teams that play together for a long period of time, you're going to build that good chemistry up. And when you build up a good amount of chemistry, going up against any other CCL teams is going to give you an advantage. And it's going to give you that leg up, because not all of these CCL teams are always constantly going to be playing together like this team does. They not only play together here, but they also play together in challengers, like you said. That's a big advantage in my books going into a lot of these matches.
Let's take a look across the table from them, Jesse. The away team for the day, we got the Texas State Bobcats looking to prove themselves as well as that number 9 squad going up against their number 8 team. We got Pandemic, Draco, Tactic, Scripps. I mean, this squad, I'm interested to see what they have, because on Twitter nonstop I'm seeing Tactic and Draco playing on that Halo grind. You know, I hope that they can bring that and get back into the swing of things with Call of Duty, because so far, I mean, they've made it look good in COD just like they have in Halo.
I mean, I've got no doubt in my mind that this team is not only going to play well and place well in Halo, but come back over to COD and play and place well here. This team are names that we all expect to be seen do very well. Tactic and Draco, very, very strong players for this Texas State roster. It's been a very talented team. It was a good team last year. It's a good team again this year. And it's just something that we expect to see. When you think Texas State, you think top 10 team.
I do think top 10 team when you're looking at the Bobcats. Well, let's set the scene for the maps and modes, Jesse, across the day, because this is really the interesting part. This is really what's going to set the mood between both of these squads, Jesse. and see who's going to win in what series. Because when you're looking at it, you got Gavatu map number 1, something you don't usually see to open up a series. And you move over to Bokash, Search and Destroy, a Gavatu control for that map 3 swing map. And then if it goes the distance, Tuscan Hardpoint and Search and Destroy on Berlin. How are you feeling about this map set?
So it's an interesting one, right? Because you look at it and you're like, oh, whatever. You know, we get Gavutu first, we get Gavutu third. Not a big deal there, right? But it really is a big deal when you look at it. You're looking at these overall team stats, because when you're looking at Gavutu, this is an extremely strong map for Texas State versus other maps. They've been very good in Bacage Hardpoint. They've been very good in Gavutu Hardpoint. So to see Gavutu come through is really big for Texas State. And then also, they don't play control on Tuscan. They do not have a single Tuscan control played yet, but they are 5-0 on Gavutu control. On the other side of things, Westcliff yet to play a Gavutu control. So that is a big advantage, in my opinion, for Texas State coming into this one. The fact that you've got that many reps on it, I mean, I'm sure Westcliff has played the map. They've played it in scrims, I'm sure. But the fact that you don't have a league match in that map yet, going up against a team that has not only played it a ton, but are 5-0 undefeated on that map, I think that's a big, big statement for Texas State. And if they want to win this series, I think their best chance is doing it in the early portions of this series. If they can at least come away from the first 3 games with a 2-1 lead, they're looking great towards the back half of this series.
And now that you're out of, stage 1 into stage 2, Jesse, and you're going up against other teams inside the top 25, let alone teams in the top 10 now, it's going to show that eventually you're going to have to go into these maps, and you're going to have to look good if you want to make your way into playoffs out of this tier 1 for the Western Division. So, I mean, eventually you were going to go to Gavitu, and now against the Bobcats, this is where Westcliff really need to show that this is a map that they can make work inside of it. But we're hopping into the hard point. We're hopping into Gavitu, folks, and getting things ready for this. One thing that Proper brought up, Jesse, that I loved to hear from him is how he was highlighting the flex players inside of Vanguard in general. And when you're looking at a map like Gavitu, this is where your flex players are going to need to rep that auto. And if you're looking at either squad, it's Stoners on the Warriors and Pandemic on the Bobcats.
That's a great call. We love Proper, my color casting father coming out, giving us exactly what we need to know. And it's all about those flex players on this map, because you need to not only be able to use a submachine gun, but also use an AR on a lot of these hills. And that's the tough part for the flex players, is to pick up that automaton and use it to full effect here. But who's not having a hard time off the start here is Texas State, right inside the hill right away here, already off with 20 points, but they're getting broken from both sides. Beeson will find 2, unfortunately finds his teammate as well, but he will finally clean it up, and that's going to be now time going back to Westcliff. But with 15 seconds left, majority of focus is going to be on this rotation over to the LST ship.
Beeson doesn't care who's in front of him. He's going to take him down no matter. On 3 spree at the moment, make it 4 in a row. You got to watch out for the streaks early into the game, because they are going to punish inside the late game. Rotations on board for the Warriors. Lock inside top LST. Auto in hand is just going to be picking away at these players as they try to get closer and closer to the boat. A really strong setup right now from the Warriors, Jesse. Almost unbreakable until Beeson goes down. That it is going to open up the middle of the map a little bit, so you're looking at the Bobcats, really, they need to start getting into this, because this is a full 15 seconds that hasn't even been tested from the Warriors just yet. It's a push from the Bobcats and 3 down. They are locking it down. They look like a brick wall.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, right, to be able to break in. If you guys have played League play, you guys will know. Just if you get put into this setup, it is almost impossible to break, as long as you are holding 1 player top ship, 1 player pushing up, and just you spawn out the other team so far, so it takes them so long to get back over to this hill. But then also, besides that, now you got to try to break into it, and there's just no room to break into this one with Westcliff. The way that they're setting up, the way that they're sitting inside of this one. And now Westcliff is actually putting their full focus on trying to get this rotation over to the new side, and they actually flip the spawns out as well.
Wow.
This is just a flawless start from Westcliff. You don't get a great rip off the start of the game, but you get the back 20 seconds on P1, the full time on P2, and then now a rotation and a perfect hold set up here on P3.
You pump the brake, you push the gas, and you completely flip this map right now. What Warriors are playing Gavitu to a T. This is something that we were kind of looking for them to do as well off the start of the show. This is the Westcliff Warriors team that went undefeated in stage 1 and are looking to just hold that true into this stage here. They have to set up lock inside artillery. We'll hunt down these players. 2 on the menu. Script's going to find him. So that's an opening now for the Bobcats to try to get into things. Beast in a little bit of heat. Drop down to 58 HP. And This is the opening that the Bobcats really need to take soon if they are going to break into this hill. Pandemic's going to find the kill into Beeston. That's the break that the Bobcats were looking for. Still a few players here for the Warriors to try to test them and pick up the scrap time. They are going to find that, but when you're looking at this, the Bobcats, they really need to lock down this rotation that they have.
Yeah, and across the map, I don't know if you saw or not, but Scripps actually picked up a huge kill off screen. So he was able to get the one player on Westcliff that started making the early rotation with around 20 seconds left on the hill. And picking up that player, what that does, it just stops Texas State, or stops Westcliff from being able to make that full rotation early on and flip you out again. It's a good adjustment coming in from Texas State, because you're not wrong at all. They absolutely need a full 60 here to bring themselves right back into this game. They're doing a good job. They have the exact setup that they want, and they're spawning Westcliff out. So, I mean, this is their best chance of being able to get a full hold.
Warriors looking for a setup now for the break. Forward aggression out of Draco. He's going to be spawning out Beaston here. Swaps to the secondary, already tagged up. Is going to be able to finish that off. But look at the kill feed. It's 3 for 2 in favor of the Warriors. Now numbers advantage is going to let Stoners push this out. And they flip the spawns out of the Bobcats here. They're taking control of the beach. And now it's Bobcats in a really struggle situation. They're going to have to just chalk the rest of this and hope that they can get a better setup into Dogs.
Yeah, with 20 seconds left, no point of pushing the old hill. Might as well just wrap back, try to set up for the docks, though, like you alluded to. And now player 7 Scripps is actually going to have to make a little bit of a wrap here to get into the new hill. As it pops, he will be there. But now here comes the struggle. Westcliff, they look to be wanting to hit this from the top side. Not going to influence the spawns yet, but if they find a few more kills, they might just be able to spawn Texas State out here as well.
This is a crazy start to Gavitu. You don't normally see it at this much of an advantage all the time. Usually teams are good at locking down 1 to 2 or kind of bouncing back and forth between 60s. Right now, Warriors are looking like bullies on the map. Lucasi on 5 in a row. Can he find 6? There's the strafing run inside the pocket now of the Warriors. Glide Bomb's up next if he can find 7 in a row. And there it is. Draco's going to down. Oh, 8 maybe. No, Scripps gets away. Locks him, clean it up. 8 in a row, or 7 in a row for Lucasi before he goes down. Both streaks locked down for the Warriors, and that's going to be big, especially on a map like Gavitu.
And Texas State can't even get near this hill right now. They are absolutely getting run away with the score here. Locke's going to put one in for extra measure with the knife inside of next, but Texas State, once again, now early team set up here at P1, but it sounds like Glide Bomb has been invested. Not going to find any value out of the Glide Bomb, though. Not able to bend it inside the little shack there, so everybody stays alive now for Texas State, but the hit, it's coming in from Warriors. They want to hit this from the front.
Hoping to bend it like Beckham, but just couldn't hit its mark whatsoever. Pandemic, nice feed for himself. That's 4 in a row as well for the Bobcats, but they are down 100 points, Jesse, so they need to play some pretty damn good hard point if they want to pull this back inside map number 1. Warriors looking to set up for a break, but now it's their turn to struggle to touch inside this hard point. P1 has looked phenomenal for the Bobcats, just like the first set of rotations did, and now Draco on 5 in a row, Pandemic on 4 in a row. This is something that definitely can be pushed into a really strong situation. If both players can lock down these streaks, it's going to be huge. But just as I say that, it's a 4 down.
It was you this time. I want you to be well aware. It was you that cast your curse them this time. Both players on streaks, they end up falling on 5. Can't find any value out of the rest of those streaks. And I think I'm looking at one thing right now on Texas State. 2 players individually really need to be stepping up here. Tactic and Scripps need to be picking it up here in the second set of these rotations. 7 and 21, 7 and 10. Need to be better than that if you want to find success here on this map mode combination. And we were talking about how it's going to be a big thing for these ARs and for the flex players to be picking up that AR. Well, both flex players are doing relatively well right now. It's just really kind of up to those second players on both sides to really start picking it up. But this is a much better rotation from Texas State from P1 to P2 than what we saw in the last set of rotations, where they barely got any time on this hill, and it was a full Westcliff. They've held on to the spawns. They've done a good job so far. But Westcliff, they look to be hitting a resurgence, trying to hit this hill one last time.
The one thing, Jesse, though, that's interesting about this rotation is that, yeah, they got the rotation to P2, but they haven't really turned it into any time whatsoever. The Warriors have done a really strong job at kind of negating this time out of the hands of the Bobcats. So they're going to pick up the scrap time, but now this is the hard part, breaking into P3.
Yeah, this is definitely, like you said, going to be the tougher part of this, trying to break into this one. Locke is already watching down the front. Doesn't spot that player out, though. So him and Pandemic, big one-on-one. Locke will lock down the right side of the map. So this should actually allow them to know, now that they're spawning up on the ring side, they should know that Texas State have the spawns in the back.
They got to hit this because Warriors, they're in finishing distance of this game. Number 1, Locke watching over from the artillery, finds 2 in a row. That's going to keep the time progressing for the Warriors on the inside of this hill. It's 3 down for the Bobcats. A Pandemic, the closest one to this player. They're still spawning out here, and even if they can't break this, even if they're going to push it now to a next hill, they have to make sure that they get the rotation, so they're going to be able to, they're going to have to get in for the contention and push to this, because you can win here if you're the Warriors, and I'm curious to see why the Bobcats are pushing to next. They need to get into this hill, or else it's going to be game over for Gavitu. Scripps going to hop in for the contention. Big one-on-one here, tactic to clean up, so we're headed to a second hill, and look who's there. It's going to be the Warriors. They are set up.
It's one of those situations, if you're Texas State, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because you're just down so much in this game. So even if they rotated early there, you lose on the last hill. This time you hit towards the old hill. Instead of that, now Westcliff, you might get broken, but they can just set up on the next, and that's how you just put out a game there if you're Westcliff. And a very, very strong map number 1 for Westcliff, on a map where we did not think they were going to come into this one too strong. They came into it at 1-0 record on Gavutu hardpoint, but I mean, I think they're just kind of showing us that it does not matter what map that they play. They are going to come out and they're going to play as a team and absolutely pop off here, as they beat them by almost 100 points.
Well, that should answer the question on what are we going to get out of this team on Gavitu to inside. I mean, they don't normally go to this map, but I mean, that is a statement in itself. They were dominant throughout the whole time, and even when they weren't rotating, Jesse, they were bullying their way through. I'm sure when we take a look at the stats for this mode, we are going to see a very polar opposite between both of these teams, because as you alluded to, I mean, the flex players, they were turning up for the Bobcats, but it's just the rest of the team that weren't showing up.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got 20 kills combined between your bottom 2 players, it's never a good look, considering the lowest player on Westcliff was sitting at 17 kills. You got outslayed pretty hard there in map number 1. Let's be completely candid with everybody. Going into the rest of the series, you just need to simply be better. But also, though, it's hard to get kills when you're constantly trying to break the hills, because Westcliff was just bullying you on rotations. I mean, that first set, you get the early 20 seconds if you're Texas State. Everything is feeling fantastic. You're looking good. You get broken for the back 20 on P1, who's a full 60 on P2, and then the rotation over to P3, you get broken, or you don't even get broken. You never get set up because Westcliff gets the flip at the perfect time, and they get a full 60 there as well. It was just a flawless start from Westcliff, and they never looked back, Colin.
I mean, Westcliff, they're just looking that strong right now inside of this, up against their kind of partner roster inside the top 25. I mean, number 8, number 9, they're directly side by side, and when you win a game like that on hardpoint, it is putting exclamation marks on those placings right now. But we're heading to Search and Destroy on Bocage, map number 2. Jesse, talk to me a little bit about these teams. What are we expecting on Bocage?
So actually, Westcliff, again, this is another map where they have yet to play this inside of the CCL. So no Bocage, Search and Destroy experience. I'm sure they have experience, like I said before, outside probably scrimming or maybe playing in other leagues. But inside CCL, yet to play a map here on Bocage, Search and Destroy. And then on the other side, Texas State, actually 2-0 on this map mode combination. So we were alluding to it. Texas State, they need to walk away from the early portions of this series with a lead going into the back half if they want to win this one. Because the back half of that series, that Tuscan hardpoint scares me. Westcliff looking very, very strong. That is their map pick as well, that Tuscan hardpoint. So you need to be going into that with a lead if you want to be able to see that game number 5 especially. So I think these next 2 maps are pivotal wins for Texas State.
Oh, 100%, Jesse. And if you're going to be looking to bring this one back, I think confidence is going to be a big factor inside of this. Towards the later ends of that Gavitu, you start to see the Bobcats find their footing, find their rhythm inside it. It was a slow start for them indeed, but honestly, the back half of Gavitu, they had something going for them, and I want to see them carry that over into the Search and Destroy, especially in Bocage, where First Blood can go a long way.
You're not wrong at all. It really can be the difference maker in a lot of these rounds. You get a First Blood over by that A site, it just makes breaking inside Grandma's that much easier. You get the First Blood over by the river side of the map on defense or on offense, you basically get full control of that side of the map, because very rarely are you going to see a lot of players over on that portion of the map. It's usually going to be middle of the map towards Grandma's. That's going to be the main focus for both these teams, offensively and defensively. You want to be able to stack it up. You want to be able to defend it, because if you can get in there and you can get a good setup, it is a very, very tough spot to be able to break inside of. So it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams play it. I wonder if we get a little bit less experience now coming out of the Warriors coming into this one, just because they haven't played it yet inside of CCL. But we said that going into the Gavutu hardpoint, and they came out and they won that one anyway. So we'll just have to see. Maybe a little bit of less experience means a little bit less VOD for other teams to be able to study on these maps.
Well, they haven't lost a map since week 1 of the CCL. They're looking to keep that going, but Draco finds a First Blood into this one. It is going to open the A site a little bit for a plant. You see the rest of the Warriors through that X-ray on the minimap. Kind of a little bit stuck inside of Grandma's with number 7 on the rotation. Locke definitely could answer back, and he does. It's going to find the equalizer onto Tactic in the back. Finds the pinch as well in this. Lucassi wins the fight on the inside. Locke wins a second, so it's 3 down for the Warriors. Scripps last alive for the Bobcats. Is going to make it a 1v2 and on the run over to the B site.
He does have that Volk in hand, too, and we saw just how strong that gun can be inside a good player's hands. We saw it in the last series with Fishity, where he was just absolutely tearing it up with that Volk bomb. Will go down over at this B site. Actually, no, he does not finish planting the bomb. Maybe trying to bait out a rotation here from these Westcliff players. He wants to make this bomb push back over towards this A site. And I mean, I don't fully understand that. You were about a second away from closing that out, but he will find the timing. Finds one, slips through, and now bomb should be able to go down here, but I'm sure Locke is about to check this.
Locke, it looks like he's respecting the plan. He's going to take the long way around through Barnes. Scripps left guessing on where Locke's going to come from. Flies. Now he knows. Doors open. Crosses right on the inside and waiting in line. The Bobcats are going to find first round. Just nice and patient. A great play from Scripps. Yeah, it was a little bit hairy going over to the A side, but he gets it done.
And Scripps with a not-so-great map number 1. Well, already clutches a 1v3 here in round 1 of map number 2. So already bringing it back here for his team. Exactly what you want to see the SMG player do on a map like Bacage. Needs to make sure he is tearing it up here. And, I mean, a 3 spree. Can't really complain about that start here for my man Scripps. But see what Westcliff can do in the resurgence here. You know they're pretty upset that they lost that round number 1 in a 1 versus 3. I love this spot from Scripps. He gets a lot of information. Spots 2 players crossing, feeds it directly to his team, where Pandemic picks up 2 through middle of the map.
Locking the doors at Grandma's house, making sure it's safe to go to bed. 4 on 2. What are we going to see out of Locke and Stoners to bring themselves back? Bombs down all the way inside, too. I'm not sure if Pandemic knows that, but a lot of forward aggression. Get some informations on a third. You know, there's a little bit of control into Barn, and Scripps still in a strong position. On the outside of that, gets spotted, and nice from Locke. He's going to take him down. It finds one. Brings this deficit back a little bit, but 46 seconds to make a play. Nobody on Bobcats on the flank. It's just going to be some really key gunfights on the inside of Grandma's, Jesse.
That bomb is down in such a bad spot, though, Colin. These Westcliff players, they need to not only get this wrap over to here, but find a few kills if they want to be able to pick this bomb up. But Locke will make it a 2 versus 2 now, as he finds 2 here in this round. It's really going to be up to whether or not they can find these kills, though, because these Texas State players, they know that this bomb is down here.
Warriors fighting fights on both fronts. Pandemic wins his. Stoners recovers the bomb. Now 15 seconds to make a play. It has to be the setting. Tactic heard the door swing open. It doesn't seem like he's aware of that, but as soon as the A-bomb goes down, he's going to fly right through the door. Tactic spots him. They pass each other, and he's going to let Pandemic know, hey, he's on the outside. Drop down, pick it up. We're heading up 2-0.
I was about to say, Colin, if we just got a 1v3 to start the game off, followed by a 2 versus 4, I may have absolutely lost my mind going into the back half of this series, but they will take the round win. I guess we're just waiting a little bit before we hop on the defuse here. Maybe adding a little extra insult to injury. Let the round soak in a little bit. Texas State just wants them to know, like, hey, yo, we won these rounds. I'm sure they're just waiting for their dead silences to creep back up so they get it for the next round, so then they can run flak along with their dead silences.
It's something that's interesting, Jesse, and you know I see it in other esports, but you don't normally see it in Search and Destroy, unless you're dead silence up. But also allows a little bit more time to just chit-chat with your teammates, talk about that round, and a little bit extra time to plan for the third round coming up next.
Yeah, I never really thought of it like that, but absolutely gives you a little bit extra time. You can start to think about things. Pandemic's on 4 as well. Definitely something to be thinking about going in towards the back half of this game, because you can find streaks on this map. Opens up a lot more options towards going towards that B side, so keep your eye on him.
Oh, Scripps. Again, first blood, this time Warriors way. Eyes on Lock, Pandemic. Going for the pre-fire, 4 in a row. You gotta pray that you're gonna hold on to this. Nice win onto Lucassi, and that's 5 in a row for Pandemic. 2 on 3. Tactic over at the B site, but that bomb's still down over at A, so whatever you do, not really gonna open up any options. In fact, Tactic's gonna go down, so it really closes off the other option. 1v3 now. Pandemic last alive. He's got to turn this into streaks, and really only one option.
And let's not forget that we did get a 1v3 in round number 1. We got a couple players sneaking through, but this time it's Pandemic. He will find one, but yeah, there was no way you were getting away there. You had players all over the place if you're a Westcliff. To trade that one out, and their defense looked really good in round number 1. Just unfortunately, they let a player slip through and they got 1v3. This time, don't make the same mistake. Pandemic not able to slip through. Will find 6 in a row, but ends up falling before being able to find the 7th. So I believe that should mean he gets the first streak at the very least. So yes, he will. He will have that strafing run if he needs to use it. But the strafing run con, I think we all know it, not nearly as powerful as that glide bomb can be on a map like Bocage.
Nah, but we love our shooting pilots. You know we love our shooting pilots here, even still. So
But they go rogue
could be
sometimes.
an option. Could be an option if they go over to the B site, but definitely not the one you want to have for an A site attack. Very passive inside round 4 out of the Warriors, as 3 players residing over to the barn. Player number 8, Stoners, watching the late flank. Bobcats patient as well, going for the same setup we saw in their past defensive round, leaving Scripps alone on the high ground just outside of Shed. And the rest of the team kind of stacked inside Grandma's with Draco around Willow, but calling for the rotation around A. They feel like something's up. Scripps going to find Locke all the way at top barn. It is going to be first blood their way, and all that information feeding over to Tactic on the inside. Is Pandemic going to drop down Luke Cassie? Draco doubles down on the Beaston. Last alive is going to be inside barn, and as he drops a flawless round outside of the Bobcats.
And so what's crazy about that round is Scripps finds the first blood on the outside, and what it does is it just basically leaves everybody else so open and susceptible because that one angle is not being watched anymore. You need to start picking up a few more things now as the offense there. And then as soon as that happens, Texas State just pinches on all fronts and they find all the kills in succession. Nobody really able to do anything for Westcliff on that offense there. And Westcliff is really going to be kicking themselves for losing that first defense, because very often we're seeing it more and more now on Bocage, where you just go defense for defense in this game until you finally win an offense. Well, Texas State, they did the job early. If they can just run it out defense for defense here, they will close this game out and be able to win it against Westcliff. So at some point, Westcliff is going to need to be able to take an offense.
Looking for that first blood. Their forward aggression of the Warriors this time. Lucassi, though, gets spotted. Pandemic, 8-2. On a really good game inside Bocage. But off of that hit, they don't push this. They don't get aggressive. They kind of just hit the brakes, see if they can bait out any more of the Warriors. Try to find their second, but they are going to be wrapping around to the B side, it looks like. Jesse getting a little bit too aggressive. His lock now, that's 2 players down. The B side is very much an option.
It definitely is. You can see both Westcliff players are actually trying to group up together right now as well. They want to try to take a few fights together, so then even if one falls, you can get the trade, or maybe even hopefully go for a 2-for-0 and try to get these numbers back into their favor. But like you called out, that B-bomb very open, very possible to hit right now, and Scripps will be putting this bomb down. Stoners might be able to check this just at the right time, though, to get the player down and out, and now it's going to be a 2v2. Tactic falls as well, so now a 2v1, a perfect play from Westcliff there on the retake.
Quick little 1-2 punch, but it turns out it's Haymaker. Beaston, 1v1. Pandemic's going to spot him out. Gets him off the bomb. Hits the deck. Stun. Just for the information, Beaston, I don't know if he wants to hit this or not, if he wants to stick this. No, he's going to hop right back on this, throw some shots. Pandemic has the better situation for this, and Volk in hand. It's going to be deadly, but hops up top, and Beaston, he's got a Volk as well. We saw how Fishy did with it, and it looks like the players, they want to use it as well.
Yeah, it seems like everybody just knows right now that Volk can be a very, very deadly weapon, and Beaston showing you why right there to full effect. As Westcliff, they will walk away with the defense. It definitely got a little scarier than what they wanted it to there, but they'll take a 2v4. They'll find 3 in a row and then be able to take out that 4th in a 1-versus-1 at the very end there. It definitely got a little shaky at the start, but they were able to bring that one back for themselves. But like I was alluding to in the last round, the big thing for Westcliff is they need to get an offensive win. They need to answer back to kind of even this game up, because you got that offensive win from Texas State. You can't rely on just going defense for defense here. And it's going to be a very heavy hit over towards the A site right off the rip.
Scripps running for his life. Tail tucked between his legs. A 1-for-1 through the middle of the map, Jesse. Leaves us even Steven at 3. With Scripps backed up, the A site is completely open for this plant. Beaston, he should know that. Locke is set up on a very strong position to watch over this player as well. So as soon as Scripps pushes this, he should lose his life. But watch the player, peeks up, still alive. Pandemic's going to answer with the kill on the Beaston. Now numbers in the hands of the Bobcats. Scripps going to slide on in. And
Scripps snuck through.
He snuck through. He could hop this right now. They know Locke's on this tank as well. Draco on the slow push around. Is he going to check right underneath him? No, he's going to take out Stoners. He doesn't know that he's side by side with Locke. Locke's just going to play the patient game. He's going to see if he can try to spot Scripps here. This is a very good position, but you just don't know Scripps is on that bomb. Locke finally making a play, but it's too late, buddy.
So the hard part there is he wants to do that hop-up, but you need to do it with a knife in your hand so you get the extra little bit of speed to be able to make that hop-up. And unfortunately, it's just a little bit too late. I mean, I like the play from him to keep the trigger discipline there to find it, but unfortunately the bomb was just not planted in the right spot for him to be able to make a play off of it because all of his teammates fall around him. And that's going to be another defensive win for Texas State and another offensive loss for Westcliff there. The offensive woes continue, and Texas State will continue to hold on to this 2-round lead here, heading back into offense. And who would have thought, going back over towards this A site, exactly where they've gone every single round so far. They know what they want to do, and they know they want to hit this A site early and often in these rounds.
Grenade from Beeston. It seems like the Warriors have a feeling somebody slipped through, Jesse, but it's not the case at all. It's a very patient round of the Bobcats. Start this off, stun right into the face of Beeston. That's going to allow Scripps to slip the line. Sneaks a little bit closer to this A site, but haven't really dedicated themselves to a gunfight just yet. Scripps definitely seems like he could be the spear to pierce this armor of the Warriors.
Pandemic has snuck through, though. He's going to take a couple shots, but make his player run right into lock. But they'll trade out 1 for 1 here, so nothing really too big coming from that. And this bomb still has not worked its way into this A site yet, so nobody really with an advantage here in this round at the moment. Bomb will now move into A, starts to be planted. If Texas State can put this bomb down with the positioning they have, they're in a big advantage going into the back half of this round.
This is very scary. The Warriors kind of on top of each other. Not a whole lot of options. Now they're going to have to flood on in, brawl their way through this gunfight. See if they can bully just like they did in the hardpoint. Beaston finds the trade. 2v2. Stoners slides on in. Not going to expect Scripps hiding behind the door. Be a little bit of peekaboo, and it's going to be a 2 versus 1. Beaston last alive. If you make this work, tries to check behind the door to see if Scripps is still there, but no, he's behind the bomb now. And that's going to bring the Bobcats 5-2 to look to bounce back in the series.
That A site can really be such a blessing or a curse, right? Like when you're on defense and you're inside that site, it's great because it's so hard for the offensive team to be able to break into it. But as soon as you lose your player that's sitting inside that site and they are able to break inside of it, get that bomb down, it becomes so much easier to hold it because now you're the team with the powerful position. Everybody on Westcliff now needs to push into you. And that's exactly what you see there again in that round. They get the bomb down, they get that first player out of the A site, and it just completely makes Westcliff put it on the back foot, trying to break their way in. And now you'll see Westcliff again, trying to make their play over towards the A side. It has not worked out for them at all this game yet. Still 0 for 3 on offensive rounds. They're trying to get their first here. Stoners will find first blood, but again, it's nowhere near this A side, so you still got a lot of pressure here for the rest of Texas State.
Well, that's a great way to double down, but Lucasi kind of stuck in an awkward situation. Wasn't able to walk out with that one. Still keeping up with the pressure. Locke's going to find tactic. 1v3 for Pandemic. 11-4. Has had a fantastic game, but Andy 1v3 again to shut this one out. Finds the bomb planter on the outside, taking some heat, and the Warriors, they stay alive. They're going to find Pandemic, and they're going to take it down with kills. 5-3 we go.
Well, they finally win their first offense there, but it was definitely not the prettiest offense, you want to say. They didn't even really need to put the bomb down or anything like that, but you know what? They get the job done. It's simple as that, but now the issue is you've lost 2 offenses, so they're going to need to get the job done all over again, basically win 4 rounds in a row to close this game out. And the big focus for them going into this round is going to be holding on to that A site, making sure their player inside the site does not fall this round, because last round you saw it, he fell, and the entire defensive setup just fell apart at the seams at that point. Stoners will be the player inside and around A, and actually it looks like Westcliff want to get aggressive on this defense.
They do. Locke, gotta be careful there. Stoners, a little bit of backup. It's a rescue mission, and it's gonna be Beaston to double up with him. It's Beaston to find 2 as well. A beamer on the tactic. Scripps now last alive in a sticky situation. Is able to find 1, but that's about it. Warriors now climbing back, Jesse, 5-4.
Westcliff is really kicking themselves right now, though, for losing that early round number 1. That 1v3, it could be a 5-5 game right now, Colin, but unfortunately they lost that round. And now you're needing to be in a situation where you need to win 4 rounds in a row. It's a very tough spot to be in. And their offense has been very woeful so far here in this game. They've won one finally in their last offensive round. But it just seems like Westcliff right now, all they want to do is take the fight to Texas State. That's how they've won these last 2 rounds. And I would be very surprised if we see the pace change here with how successful those last 2 rounds have gone for them.
Well, they got a taste of what it feels to win an offense. Let's see if this Warriors squad is still hungry for it. They're looking to push us to a round 11. And they're set up for an A-side hit. Scraps is going to open up the window. Lucasi cooks the nade, but nobody outside onto the upper echelon of B. There's just going to be information known now that that spot is open. Scripps up top is going to get stunned. Lucasi on 41 HP. This is a tough situation. I mean, the Warriors, eventually you're going to make a play for one of these bomb sites, but Bobcats are very much turtled inside this A site. It's not going to be easy. Opens the door. Nobody's home.
Yeah.
Bobcats just playing reactive.
Right now, what Westcliff is doing is they're trying to find a pick, right? They're trying to get one of these Texas State players to get over aggressive, but Stoners will make the push through the back. He finds one. At least that's information for your team. This bomb will go down as well. So Westcliff, they're in a great spot to be able to defend this. And look, it looks like Beeson wants to go on a flank as well.
Yeah, Beeson wants to do exactly what Stoners did for the late game. Lucasio wins the fight into the middle of the map. Doubled down by Locke. Last one alive is going to be Scripps. 1v2 now. It's going to have to be a 1v3 to stay alive inside the map. They know exactly where this player is, and they're going to look to hone in on his position. Scripps trying to stay alive and finesse his life, but Beeson on that flank. He's going to peek out, and he's going to bring the Warriors to a round 11.
Scripps 1v3'd earlier, not able to get the job done here. Beeston has really turned it up here in the second half of this game. And that's 3 rounds in a row now to the likes of Westcliff Warriors. So they're definitely getting a little bit of confidence going into the back half of this game. Lacassie's still 2-9, but this team absolutely starting to turn things up, starting to find their rhythm here inside of this Bacage S&D. This will be the first one that they win this season, the first one that they played this season. They will be on offense again. So after a team was not able to win offense through their first 3 rounds, trying to make it 3 offensive wins in a row now for Westcliff. Beeson spot him. Oh, he's going to know now.
He's there. That's going to be out. Ooh, hook grenade. Obi. Pandemic's still alive. No, he's not. The double nade from Lucassi. And now it's going to be numbers to the Warriors, and they're going to surge on these last players. But Lucassi a little bit too aggressive. That's a bomb down, Jesse. And now player number 8, Stoners, on the flank again. He's got to go big.
Stoners is going to have a really big job to do. The issue is he hit the same flank last round. Now he'll fall. That's a big throw away from Lucassi here in round 11. It's just going to leave Beeson by himself now, 1 versus 3, and that bomb is down in an awful spot. He needs to at least find 1 here to make this doable. He will get 1, so it's 1 versus 2 now. But Texas State, they know exactly where he is, and they are not moving an inch right now.
If he wants to fly, he could definitely catch Draco looking the wrong way.
Is Draco inside or outside?
He's outside these walls. Just in the outside, gets the drop down. Here's the foot. Here's him drop, but tactics there for the trade. Bobcats is going to go the distance. It's going to get a little bit dicey again, but they're going to bounce back in map 2, Jesse, and we're headed 1-1.
Oh, that was almost 4 rounds in a row for Westcliff. I think that if you don't have... I'm trying to think of the player's name now off the top of my head. Lucassi. I think if Lucassi doesn't sneak out or try to run out there, I think you've got a much better situation for Westcliff. All you need to do in that spot is put the bomb down and play your life. But Lucassi completely disregards any call-outs from the team. I'm not sure if the call was to fly forward. I'm not sure why it would be to fly forward in that situation. You get the man advantage, exactly what you want with the nades, but Lucassi flies forward, tries to chase his kill, ends up falling into the perfect bait and switch from the Texas State players, and then from that point on, they knew Beeston was on the flank. They picked Beeston up, and that was just the closeout that Texas State needed to finish that round. Yeah, you know what? It got shaky towards the end. It got to a 1v1, but you basically set your 2 players up into a perfect spot where if one fell, the other was right there for the trade, and it's exactly what happens. I mean, it got scary towards the end, but at least Texas State closes the game out, Colin.
I mean, I said it, Jesse. Warriors, they got a little bit of a taste of what an offensive victory felt like, and they were still hungry for it again and again. Stoners, he had the right timing, but a little bit too early on the shots, a little bit too quick from the draw, and you can see that passive play from the Bobcats able to surge on his position, take him down just like you alluded to. But we're looking at the stats now, and honestly, when you're looking at it, these teams playing quite similar. It was the Beeston versus Pandemic show.
It really was. I think the big thing that even stands out to me more than the 2 players popping off is Lucassi at 3 and 10. I mean, he had a very rough map. Clearly, he died 10 out of the 11 rounds. But, I mean, the fact that you were having that rough of a map, and then that big mistake in round number 11 as well. I hate to pin it all on one player, but that is just a tough beat there in that game. But also, Westcliff, you got to think as well. In the earlier rounds, if they don't get 1v3 in round number 1, they probably win that game out 6-4 before the game is over. So it's all hindsight at the end of the day, but you would have absolutely loved to close that one out if you're Westcliff, because now you're letting Texas State right back into this one, and you're going to another map that you have not played where Texas State is 5-0. Sorry, make that 6-0 in control in Gavutu.
Well, the Texas State Esports Bobcats hand the Warriors their 2nd loss of the CCL season, and we're headed to Gavutu, a big swing map, like you said. Up next, before that, a quick break, folks. You're watching Stage 2 of the CCL Alpha Stream. We'll be back in a minute. Folks, welcome back to the Alpha Stream. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is Cruisin'. We're bringing you through the number 9 Texas State Esports Bobcats versus the number 8 Westcliff Warriors. And this one's interesting. I mean, the second loss for the Westcliff Warriors over the CCL season, and the Bobcats, they handed to them in a round 11 on Bolkosh, Jesse. Round 11, I mean, this could very well be 2-0 right now.
It really could be, and both Westcliff's losses now have been in round 11 search and destroys. So clearly not the strongest, but I mean, also this team has been very, very strong going into it. But one thing we were alluding to going into this one, Colin, and when we're looking at this series, we said that Texas State, they need to come out of these first 3 maps with a 2-1 series lead, with that Tuscan Control being map 4. We expect that to be a very strong map here for Westcliff going into it. So now going to map number 3, Texas State, you are going to your strongest map mode combination. You are 6-0 here on Gavutu Control. You haven't even played a Tuscan Control. On the other side, Westcliff has not played a Gavutu Control. If you don't walk away with this map win, I feel like it is a big throwaway map here for Texas State.
I mean, it kind of just seems like one that's already set in stone. I mean, the Bobcats, they have 1, 3, and 5 as their pick, so you know they want to go to Gavutu. You want to kind of put the Warriors in a spot that is unfamiliar for them. They looked fantastic inside the Gavutu hardpoint, and they looked like bullies in that map mode condo as well, but it's just a big question mark on if they can do the exact same thing inside of this map 3 as well. Let's see if they can bully inside of the control. If you're really looking at it, it's just the slaying pressure that was inside that Gavutu hardpoint. If that happens again inside this control, Jesse, it might not be as straightforward for the Bobcats as you think.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because Westcliff really did outslay Texas State in that map number 1, and it's the same map, just different mode, right? So Westcliff still very clearly confident on the map like Gavutu. They did a really good job on certain hills as well. Hills 2 and Hills 3 in particular, which is funny because those are the 2 control zones as well. So this team, they are comfortable on this map. It just they haven't have any reps in this mode and the map combination. So I think for Westcliff, you want to come into this one, you kind of need to play it the same as you just played the last one. And honestly, I feel like we're probably going to go defense for defense here. It happens a lot on Gavutu, where it's just defense after defense after defense wins over and over again. And then you just need the most kills going into the final round, and you get that final defense. If it plays out like that, very likely Westcliff could win this map. Texas State, on the other hand, I think that you're right. The slaying is going to be a big job for this team. If they can come into this one and they can go defense for defense and get the slaying into their favor going into the final round, that's how this team will probably win this game out for themselves. It just really comes down to that final defense. But if one of them takes an offense, it's really going to throw a curveball at the entire map in general.
And that's interesting because usually the whole talk of Gavutu is how boring it is to watch, you know, with just defense after defense after defense, but it's evolved into a very interesting map for control. A lot of the time, your SMG player, if they can have a pop-off moment, get into the back of mailroom on your attack, and then take control of antenna, take control of the spawns, I mean, you definitely can put your team in a very strong position inside those offensive rounds. It's just kind of seeing if your team has that potential to put the pressure on, to take control of the spawns, to kind of root out those defenders and see if you can take it by force. So it's going to be interesting to see if these teams have that ability in their belt. I know with the Warriors definitely do after seeing them inside that hard point, but I guess the Bobcats, they need to show that they can as well. And with plenty of reps on Gavutu control, I mean, you already said it, Jesse. This is their map to lose.
This is absolutely their map to lose, and this is a big round number 1 for them. You need to make sure you walk away here with this round number 1. Calling all that is a barrel blown up. You throw a stun over the top. It's an easy first kill there for Westcliff. It's exactly what they want to do off the rip there. You loved seeing those pre-stuns come through, blowing up the barrels and finding that first kill. It wasn't a team kill. It
wasn't, but I mean, it's always interesting when the environmental explosions come into play inside Vanguard. A quick hit to B, so even though the Bobcats are doing a great job at kind of weeding out the players over to A, the B side, it is going, and they have a tick of progression over there as well. Finally, a nade from Pandemic is going to take them off that B side, but
a tick of progress.
A tick to A. Progress on both zones, Jesse, and now you can see where the Warriors are going up to next.
Hard part is those now you're 3 dead, and you're probably about to be 4 dead, as Stoners is not in a great spot here. You will find 1, but very likely to be traded out. He will be. So Texas State now again with another 3 down. They have an opportunity to be able to push up, try to get inside of this area to shut down Westcliff from being able to push back into the site of Lucasi. First player in with the submachine gun to be able to find 1 and stay alive as well. So now looking a lot better for Westcliff here in the round.
Owners, big one-on-one here against Pandemic, but Draco comes out from behind. Now it's Locke's turn, up to bat. You see if he can buy enough time for the rest of the Warriors to come off this respawn. Luke Cassie gets into business, able to find tactic through the middle of the map. 3 down for the Bobcats. That's an opening now to A. Stops the clock at 39 seconds. They take care of Draco on the poop deck now. The LST boat, it is on control right now for the Warriors. They have the positions. They're looking to lock this down. They're looking to push this another minute.
And they've got the stack, so for sure this is going to come through. And the interesting thing is you also have Stoners over at the other site right now onto B. He actually gets another half of tick of progress over towards that B site, but now the main focus for Texas State, they want to make sure they find all of these kills out of this ship. You want to make sure nobody sneaks through, nobody's able to get into your back line here. And when they finally find that 4th kill, they know that they have absolutely cleared out their backside, and they can now start to make their way up on this map and push themselves forward to try to pin these Westcliff players into their spawn.
Again, Jesse, I mean, it's kind of a checklist for the Warriors on this offensive hit to be. You got to take control of the spawn. You have to make sure that you can spawn Bobcats out, because if not, they're just going to be hitting this again and again and again, and the pressure sometimes it is hard to pick up. So we're going to see if the Warriors can make that happen. Already 2 down. We're going to push this one up. Draco comes out with a big 2 to answer back, so that should slow down the Warriors. Stoner still wants to put some pressure out here, but now that he's all alone, really, this is an island for Stoners to sit on, and he's just going to lay down, look to see if he can pick up these Bobcats players as they get aggressive, but they're not. They're playing this very patient.
I don't think that they know that he's here, though, right? Well, not until he starts to take some shots. He's in a great position to really just kind of catch a few of these Texas State players off guard if they decide to push forward, and tactic will fall. So that gives the opening now for him to be able to move up, get inside of the zone, and now they can zone out the rest of these Texas State players. It's a blessing to spawn that close, but now you've got perfect positioning for the rest of the Westcliff players to pick these players off as they try to push into the zone.
Bullying once again, Jesse. 3 players left for the Bobcats on the B site. It is going fast. No, they're not on it just yet. 25 seconds, 3v6, 2v6.
They had the 2 players stacked, but both players ended up falling. So gives Texas State enough time to push out, but only 1 player left now for Texas State. 15 seconds to find 1 last kill.
I don't know if that was the play to make. Now Tactics all alone. 10 seconds left to finesse your life against the 4 rest players. Lost the one on the inside. Slides across. Lucasi, though. Movement on point. Westcliff Warriors, they find the offensive round.
Well, we said that if they go defense for defense, it'll be interesting to see who gets final defense. Well, they wanted to throw a curveball early on in this game to us, Colin. We're going to get the defensive win, or sorry, the offensive win right off the bat here for Westcliff. So, interesting start for them. They're able to get that win. And, I mean, if they can double down with the defensive win now, the ball will really be in their court here inside of this map. Texas State, now comes the hard part. You've already lost an offense, and now you need to answer back with an offensive win. And that is a lot easier said than done on this map. Texas State's going to do a 2-for-2 split right off the rip onto their offense, and unfortunately lose both players over towards A, 1 player over in ring as well. It's just Pandemic left alive on the gun. And yeah, this is not looking great. Westcliff already pitting these players back in their spawns.
Already in the spawn trap. You might as well be in the blender. Pandemic's going to get picked up inside of artillery now. All power positions on lock for the Warriors. Lucasi comes around the outside. Pandemic's going to find him. Finally, a player drops out of the Warriors' hands. Well, like, what's up next? Because you're still pinned out here by Locke, finally dropping to Scripps. 28 lives to 22, and you're knocked down to 44 seconds, Jesse. I mean, realistically, the B side, it's not even an option now. You need to go A.
Yeah, but another 4-man wipe now gives even more clearance for these Westcliff players to push up, pin you in the back even more here. And honestly, Texas State might even have to make a push over towards the B side because of just how much pressure you have over towards A right now if you're Westcliff. I think that you absolutely need to just try to make your way across towards the anti-air gun and just try to get over to either the B site to stop the clock or maybe push through middle of the map and go to A, but it is going to be a B hit that they push over towards now. But Westcliff, all they need right now, 1 more wipe, they should be able to close this game out.
Looking to prove me wrong, and I don't know if this is an option, but Westcliff Warriors, they've taken control of artillery. Scripps caught in the open, snaps on the lock. Still going to follow Stoners outside of the beach. Clears that hill, 9 seconds left. Pandemic now, it's a little bit of a Hail Mary going back to A. This player on the inside. Ooh, catches some good time into Lucasi. Stop this clock, but has to win another one-on-one. Beaston goes down. Still alive, but barely breathing. The Bobcats looking to put away this A zone, looking to push another minute, but even if they do, they still have a lot of lives to climb back, and if realistically the Warriors, they can give this up and play a little bit of team deathmatch after this. They're stacking the A side, and that's exactly what the Warriors are set up here for. Beaston, a little bit of wide swing, he's going to find 2. Here comes Stoners to clear this hill, but the A side, it gets captured. We're still alive another minute.
You get the extra minute, but you only got 10 lives left to the 20 on the likes of Westcliff in this situation. 10 life lead. And the hardest part of this all now is going to be trying to make your way over towards the B site. The first tick of progress has come through from when they made their initial push over there, which then also allowed them to stop the clock, give them enough time to get back on to A. But again, just the life count and the fact that you were able to get a full wipe there from Westcliff as they captured that zone, it just makes it that much harder to get out of it. Now you're down to 5 lives and just in a terrible spot here against Westcliff.
They don't even want to push this. I mean, save these lives to the later ends of the rounds, but Beeson finds an angle and a tactic. No respawns left for these Bobcat players. Trapped on every front, in every sense of the word. 11 seconds remaining. Going up 2-0 here. The Warriors are going to be in a very big position to hand the Bobcats their first loss on this map, Jesse. And they're doing it with style. I mean, they look so strong on Gavitu. Maybe the reason they haven't been on this map is because teams don't want to bring them to this map.
Yeah, maybe they've just been scrimming it so much, and whenever they scrim teams on it, they must smoke them. So teams don't want to play them on Gavuti because, like we said coming into this one, yet to play this map mode combination if you're Westcliff, but clearly, like you said, Colin, looking very, very confident and very comfortable on this map mode combination, and Westcliff looking to try to put this one away in just 3 rounds. You even have a strafing run on Stoners here in the round going into this one, but it's going to be an all-out hit over towards this A site. You do have one player hitting off-site, but the rest of the 3 players on Westcliff hitting right over towards A and already off to a great start, a 3-for-1 trade. And the only player left is in the middle of the map. It's Tactic. He falls as well, and now the stack can come through onto the A zone.
College bullies, Jesse. College bullies. They are forcing their way into these zones, and they are making them look very simple on a map that usually is very hard to attack. Scripps trying to make a play here for the Bobcats around the outside. A little bit of help from Tactic. Now it's time to fly. Walks right in. Beeson set up. A little bit of help from Locke in this A zone. It is gone. Nobody in a position to get right back into it for the Bobcats. You got to put your eggs into this B zone.
And a 5 life lead already. Let's not forget in round number 1, Westcliff, they didn't even get the full B zone. They won off lives alone. This time, Texas State as well, not even able to find a wipe outside of the site as well. So Westcliff, if they can find their way onto the B site, that's when they're going to really start to pick up some lives and really start to close this round out. Locke will get shot up, though, so he needs to back up, play his life a little bit here, regen that health before he decides to re-challenge from this lower side of the map and try to get these spawns again.
Gassy, spearheading their way through this map. Picks up the players inside artillery now. Very strong position to be in for the Warriors. Locke's going to hunt down Tactic. No forward positioning anymore for the Bobcats at all. 15 lives. It's a full feed of Warriors right now. All blue in the kill feed. They hop onto the zone. Now starting to collect this progression. Stoners on the wide swing is going to find Scripps. They haven't locked down so far, but can the Bobcats climb right back into it? Can they claw their way into the zone? Pandemic's going to find Stoners. That's about it, though. Finds the shots in the Legacy through the tank, so clears off that B zone for now, Jesse, but they have a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah, they really do. Still down 8 lives here in the round. I think the big thing for Texas State, if they want to be able to win this round, they need a wipe for their team so they can push up on the map in their last defensive round, but you will get another 2-0 trade here for Westcliff. They can start to make their way through, and those are just shots you can't miss on the beach there. And that's going to completely open up B again. Westcliff can get right back into the site. Now only 7 lives remaining for Texas State, and this round is just not looking good.
Cool, calm, composed, and in control, Jesse. I mean, the Warriors, they look like a different beast inside of Gavitu control. Stoners locking things down around his teammate, playing a little bit of hero for the player on the inside, Lucasi. 6 in a row for himself, but it's not going to matter even if you find Strace. I mean, this round, it is over. The Warriors, another statement on Gavitu as they're bringing it to the Bobcat setting, and they are making it look easy. 3-0 on Gavitu control as soon as they collect that last tick of progression in the B zone. And I mean, this is a team that looks like they got something to prove it, and they want to prove it inside this. I mean, a lot of players coming into the season on the Westcliff Warriors who want to make sure that they are on top.
What we said coming into this one, Colin, that Westcliff, this is kind of a big test for them. It's their first, like, really big, tough matchup against another top 10 team, against another team which is to a very strong composure. And I mean, they're giving the work to Texas State right now, really, really popping off at the moment, giving a good job, really kind of slowing down and making these Texas State players struggle. It's looking like Texas State right now is a team not even inside the top 25 with how they're being outslayed by Westcliff in these respawn modes. And let's be honest, Westcliff was probably a single Lacassie push in round 11 away from being able to 3-0 this Texas State roster, or a 4v3 in that situation. It's a really tough retake for Texas State in that spot. So the fact that that push comes in and search and destroy, and then we don't end up getting the game there, I mean, it's just a tough spot to be in. But Westcliff absolutely could have 3-0'd this series. And I mean, the fact that now you have Westcliff up 2-1 going into their best map mode combination in Tuscan Hardpoint, I mean, this is, unless Texas State do something remarkable here in this next map, I just can't see a way they're able to take it, though.
Well, it's kind of like, it was one of those, we said that Gavitu was Texas State's map to lose. Now it's Tuscan is Westcliff's map to lose. It says specifically, Jesse, Anarchy's a victory. I mean, you want to end it early if you were the Bobcats. And now we're into the back half. Now we're in Westcliff territory. This Tuscan hardpoint definitely can look like the Warriors shot this one down in 4. I mean, just looking at these stats immediately in a respawn, 8 and 23 is not a stat line that you want to have when you're the number 9 team in the CCL power rankings. Now you're down 2-1 against the Warriors, the number 8 team in the power rankings, heading to a hard point. You need to see those stats turn around for the squad. You need to start seeing them shooting back a little bit, because if it's like that again, I mean, Tuscan's very fundamental, Jesse. You need those respawns, and then you need to lock things down on those respawns. And if you're not finding the kills, you are not going to be able to make that happen.
This map is, this series is really going to shake up our top 25, I think. I think that if Texas State end up losing this in the fashion that they're losing it currently, we could see a big drop-off for this team, along with a big rise for Westcliff going towards the top half of the top 10, maybe, because right now they're in that bottom half at number 8, obviously. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Tuscan Hardpoint is going to be a very tough one for this Texas State team. I think there's a lot of adjustments that they can make for map number 1, making sure that our rotations are on point so that our slaying can really be in our favor. Because in that map number 1, right off the rip, I mean, you had a good break off for Texas State. Things were looking great. But then as soon as Westcliff got back into Hill 1, they strung it into Hill 2. They flipped the spawns. They strung it into Hill 3. At that point, if you're Texas State, you're constantly running at the hill, trying to break the hill. It's so much harder to slay out in that situation. So on a map like Tuscan, where you said it's so fundamental, you're absolutely correct. If you can lock down rotations and be the first team to a lot of these spots, that's how you can bring this lane back in your favor. You don't necessarily need to go gunfight for gunfight with Westcliff, but what you need to do is you need to make sure you are locking down rotations, so then you can put up the slaying numbers, so then you can close the game out and put it away for your roster.
Here we go, folks. 2-1 for the Warriors. Bobcats, they need to dig deep for this one. And they need to hope that they can start showing up in that slaying category, because, I mean, Tuscan, it is fast. It is nothing to be looking at. Yeah, the fundamentals are going to be there, but you let that get out of hand, man. This is going to be one that you wished you could put those numbers up in. So we're going to be looking at the Bobcats on the more preferred side for the second rotation. Draco, a set nade onto Lacassie, is answered back. Warriors are going to be the first ones at this first hill, and coming out with the kills as well. Beast and Stoners, they find 2 in a row. Lacassie, ooh, spinning around in the middle. Tactics going to find him. Look for the resurgence back on into this P1. Pandemic over the shoulder of Scripps. But it's still the Warriors on the inside of this hill winning big fights.
Westcliff, they do have those closer spawns right off the rip, right? So this is a great job. Exactly what you expect to see from this roster in Hill number 1 with having those closer spawns. But you get a big 4-0 break here for Texas State. They find all 4 in succession. And now if you're Westcliff, main focus is trying to get these spawns for the next hill. You've already gotten a good chunk of time here on P1. And you can see Texas State is reading it perfectly right now with Draco.
Draco's there, only good for 1. You're going to need your second player, Scripps, to go big, and he does 2. Make it 3, holding down the lines on the patio. 3 down. That's the rotation on lock. Oh, but look at that spawn. Wait, how did Stoner spawn up back there?
You don't have one player in the back blocking that spawn out right now, so it's going to be a big 1-for-1 in the back, but you do get the trade, and you do get the kill there for Pandemic. But what he hasn't realized is that another player snuck through for Westcliff, and that's going to be spawns now going into the favor of Westcliff. Just a little bit of a misplay here from Texas State.
No, Beaston over the shoulder, in for a little bit of contention. Still some fights for the Bobcats to go through before they start collecting this time. Once more, Scripps is on a tear. 6-2 to open up this Tuscan hardpoint, and looking like he wants to take this the distance so far at the start of this. Beeson.
Oh, no.
Oh, bad timing of Scripps. That's going to cost him. Lock, though. A team nade's going to make it a one-on-one in the inside. Tactics not able to win this. It's the flip for the Warriors. They get the break in for a moment. It's only scrap time you're fighting for the Bobcats at the rest of this. All eyes are going to be in the rotations once more over to Fountain.
It's been a really good start here for Texas State. Exactly what they need off the rip, but here's the issue. Now you don't have spawns. How is this team going to respond when they need to get a break? Because in Gavutu, it did not come very often. They were not able to break the hills very often when you had a full setup for Westcliff. And right now, Westcliff, they have the exact setup that they want at the moment. You can see even player number 4, as soon as his teammate that was out pushing out falls, he pushes out of the hill. Player 3 going to pick it back up. And now you can push out and try to get aggressive again here as Westcliff.
Scripps drops inside of Burning. Another 4 down with the Bobcats spawning outside in the northern end of that mini-map. And you see that funneling on in one by one. All information over to Locke as he's finding that one. The trade does come through out of Draco, but now the stranglehold, that is on you. You're trying to break through from it. Tactics going to win the fight inside Vines, but peeking on out to the setup. That's on the inside of Fountain for the rest of the Warriors. They're going to drop the rest of the Bobcats in. This is a big win inside P3 for the Warriors. Church, it's got to be an answer back for the Bobcats.
The breaking woes continue. Westcliff, they're just so good once they get that early setup that you just can't allow it to happen. And unfortunately, a few players have snuck through now for Westcliff as they rotate from Hill 2 to Hill 3. You have the back spawns. You don't have a full setup yet, but if you can find a break, you will absolutely spawn these Texas State players out.
Scripps needs to go big. Beeson meets him on the front line, says, hey, how you doing? We'll see you later. Church, the rotation so far great from the Warriors out here, trying to make it work. Lucas on roller skates. Still on the inside. The fight's going to the Warriors. Up top, Church. One player's going to sneak on through. Beeson's going to hunt him down. It's 3 down once again. Make it a full 4 down, Jesse. As Locke and Stoners are going to put a pin in the rest of it. 25 seconds to play for me. Do you even hit this at this point into the Bobcats?
No, I don't think you do, but I think the big thing right now is Stoner's position. He's in a great spot to be able to shut down even any push from this Texas State team over towards Command Center, over towards the next hill that we want to be going to. And with 7 seconds left, you push towards the hill, you break in for Texas State. Yeah, it's great. You get a free 10. But now Westcliff, they're going to be the first team again here to the Command Center. And Stoners is just going absolutely massive for this roster right now.
The rotations have been killing them. Draco eats his own stun. Nade into the spot where Stoners is sitting, but he's going to eat that one up. Scrumptious. Out comes Lucasi. Good for 1. Wow, a little bit over ambitious if you ask me on the inside of Scripps. Even the trade's going with the rest of the Bobcats while Tactic goes through the staircase, able to weed out Stoners from inside that hill. So the break's going to come through for the Bobcats. They are going to be collecting some time. So here comes the retake. Lucasi clears out Draco. Tactic's going to find the trade inside of that hill. So Bobcats still collecting progression inside this hill 5. But with this lead that they have, Warriors, they're looking to take another swing at this. Try to keep the time into the Bobcats' hand as you know they've been bullying the rest of it.
Oh, and I hate to say it again, but I think that would have been a really good hold for Westcliff if Lucasi doesn't swing out there. But you will pick up the scrap time, but you don't have the rotations at the moment. It's going to be really a 50-50 right now to this new hill. Tactic is able to sneak his way through without even being shot. So it's looking good now for Texas State. They can actually get a good amount of time here on P1. They've got the setup they want. What they need to be looking out for, making sure is that nobody sneaks through because Locke has gotten into the back line.
Another 2 down. Here come the Warriors. Bobcats, they need to find some kills, and they are. It's a 3 for 2, making it 4 for 2. A big pop-off moment for the Bobcats to keep this P1 in their favor. Tactic flying now, 4 in a row. You find 5. No, Beeson's going to shut him down. Warriors looking to hit back into this once more. Lucasi, the one to spearhead this push. Pandemic hits the floor. He's down on 26 HP, Jesse. Trying to recover this health, but it's just not happening. It's going to be the clear from the Warriors back into this P1 hill for the scrap time, and they have the rotations on lock.
They really do. Texas State did a really good job of rotating from P1 to P2 in the last set of rotations, but they never lost those spawns. This time through, they do not hold those spawns. This was their most successful hill in the last set of rotations. So Texas State, you need to find a way to make your way in here. You need to find a way to break in through the back, but the spawns are still looking good right now for Westcliff. They do end up falling, so that should actually now be spawns for the likes of Texas State. That's a great break through the back line.
Well, welcome to the Slays. Bobcats, they're looking fantastic inside this map 4 of the series. better late than never. As a matter of fact, only a 30-point game, Jesse, inside P2. Lucasi around the back, 4 down. Easy break out of the Warriors for this Monument Hill, and you look at this right away. Stoners realizes this. He's trying to get aggressive. Pandemic makes some noise. He's going to call them back. Beeston going to cut things down for the Warriors. Cut off the rest of the players lurking, but big win out there for Tactic. Get the scrap time, and Scripps is going to win the rotations.
He's not going to win the rotations fully, though. He gets a big one-on-one, but there were still 3 more players for Westcliff over towards that side of the map. And, I mean, yeah, you can win one-for-ones every day of the week, but when you got to take on the entire roster, things get a little bit harder. And unfortunately for him, that was the exact case. Westcliff, everybody spawns out. They all just rotate towards the new. It's a great play from this roster. And this is where we saw them have their most successful hill in the last set of rotations. It was a full 60 here on the Fountain Hill, but a big break and a big kill comes through the bottom, and that should now be spawns going to the likes of Texas State.
Tactic goes absolutely huge. Monumental, if you might add, to this Fountain Hill. What looked unbreakable inside the first set. Second set, Bobcats now in control of Fountain as they are looking to eclipse the lead that the Warriors got in that first set. Here comes the Warriors now for the re-break. 168 to 161. They're going to find the kills. Pandemic in the back. Pistol out for Beeston. He's going to hit the deck. He's going to play this right. Still players spawning here for the Bobcats for the last 20 seconds. Are they going to get in? I don't know how Beeston is still alive. I don't know if Beeston is still finding kills. Gets right back into things off the reload. But Tactic finally going to take him down. We're going to see a lead change.
Big thing there for Westcliff is the fact that they keep that one so scrappy. And I don't think the lead change is going to fully come through yet.
Close, though.
It's going to be very close, but Westcliff should hold on here. Yes, they'll keep a 4-point lead as we head over towards the Church Hill, and they'll be the first team here set up, so this should be early time again. Going into their favor, whip back spawn still being in their favor. So, I mean, even if you get a break from the front here for Texas State, you still got those close spawns. You can still reinforce early for Westcliff.
Fire has lit underneath the Bobcats right now, Jesse, as they are flying at these gunfights. Draco inside. Church Beast in the snap. Had to be tagged up because Draco got burned. Bleeded on the inside of that gunfight. Beeston's going to clear out Pandemic as well. Now time to the Warriors inside of Church. Stoners pushes the aggression. So few down for the Bobcats, and now they really need to put some emphasis on this rotation. Last time around, it was the bane of that first set of rotations. This time, they're going to go for this last hit towards Church once more. Lucasi playing inside for the contention. They're going to pull the spawns in the back, Jesse, but this is a big one here in Pandemic. He's going to win it against Stoners.
Still only a 20-point game right now, so scrap time is going to start to become more and more important. So neither team able to get it there. Keep that in mind as we head towards the back half. The fact that Texas State stopped Westcliff from being able to get that little bit of scrap time, and now looking to try to win the rotation over towards P5 here. It's just going to be a stun and nade fest right off the rip before both teams try to make their way through. And that's a huge two-piece from Block. That should give early time down to the likes of Westcliff.
Looks like he has wings on that one. Very low, though, trying to regen health, and he is back up to 100. Takes another one, 4 in a row. Locks letting him know. 22 and 17 inside of Tuscan. They can get really close to putting this one away, Jesse. Inside of this fifth hill, you can see Bobcats forming another hit onto this one. Locked 5 in a row before dropping. Trying to go for the break on the inside, but set up now are the ARs of the Warriors. You have player number 2 cutting off the rotations to the next hill as well. So everything in hand. The win condition is set. The Warriors looking to take this in 4.
Will get the early setup here, though, for Texas State. They do just enough to not allow Westcliff to win on that last hill, and they've got the full setup. You can't put it away here if you're Texas State, but if you can hold on to it and you can make your way through, you can stop Westcliff from being able to win it here as well. But Westcliff, all they need is one break, and this is their game.
Only 2 points. Here comes Stoners. 17 HP. It's caught by Script over the angle. Lucasi into the hill. Big 1-on-1, 3 down. There it is. The Warriors. They're going to take control of that hill. They're going to get the break in the end, and they're going to find the series 3-1 inside of Tuscan. Hardpoint. We said this was their map. We said this was their map mode combo, and they made it look good. Yes, the Bobcats fought back. Yes, they wanted to go the distance to that map number 5. They just couldn't get it done in the end, Jesse.
Nah, they couldn't. They just simply Westcliff's best map mode combination, and I mean, need you say more. Unfortunately, you weren't able to get it done in your best map mode combination if you're Texas State on the map that you were 6-0 going into in Gabutu. And we said going into the back half of the series, you needed to have the advantage if you were Texas State. You needed to at least be up 2-1 going into the back half, because this back half of this series really looked like it favored. I mean, not even the whole back half, but map 4 in particular really favored Westcliff. This is their pick. It is their favorite hardpoint map, by far their best hardpoint map. So going into it, you knew it was going to be a little bit of a rocky one going into it, and unfortunately, you just weren't able to close it out there. It was a close game, though. They did keep it very close throughout, but I mean, it was just too good of rotations from Westcliff again. It was just over and over again. First team there, early setup. Yeah, you get broken from the front a few times, but because you have those close spawns, able to reinforce so quickly and just able to put the game in their pocket and able to close it out for themselves.
And then you have Locke at the end inside that hill 5, just going on a big tangent of 5 in a row. That spree was enough to just push them so close to the 2 points that they needed, Jesse. Put that away. I mean, it was only moments, or time was the big factor there, because they had plenty of time to get into that hill and break back in for the last 2 seconds. So really, it's an unwinnable situation for the Bobcats to be in at the end of it. And if they found that Gavitu, if they came through with that map 3 that we said was so strong for them to go to, I mean, that Berlin was going to be something else after watching that Bokar search and destroy. But we don't get it. I mean, Westcliff Warriors, they look fantastic on Gavitu control. They 3-0 on the map that we said was definitively going to go the way of the Bobcats after seeing their record throughout the season. They didn't even care about that record. They take control of the series, they win the swing map, and they just continue up with the bullying momentum that we saw in every single hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think we framed it up perfectly coming into this one, and it was that Gavutu control was going to be such an important map for the likes of Texas State to be able to take, and the fact they lose it, they don't get their chance going to that Berlin search and destroy. And they beat them in an S&D earlier on in the series, and they would have been going to statistically coming into this series Westcliff's worst map, because it's the only map that they had lost coming into it. Yes, it was a 6-5, but still, you would have loved to have had them in a map where they have bled in before. But unfortunately, you just were not able to get there if you are Texas State. But you know what? They'll learn from this. They'll bounce back. I'm sure this team will still be within this top 25 come the end of the season. They're a very talented team in a very tough division right now. And any one of these teams inside of this top 10 could probably take maps off of each other / taking series off of each other any day of the week. It just kind of comes down to who's going to show up on each day. And right now, you know what? It was just Westcliff State today.
And inside the tier 1 of the Western Division, Jesse, winning 3-1 over the number 9 team in the CCL Power Rankings. I mean, this is a big statement of the Westcliff Warriors. I mean, you're inside of a division that is full of other Titans that you're going to have to go up against. And a convincing win today, I mean, I'm sure that skyrockets their confidence to have to go up against the other teams, the other Titans that you're going to have to face inside this division.
Yeah, it really does. It gives you a lot of confidence. But, I mean, let's not forget, though, the teams that they have to go up in this division. Ottawa, Grand Canyon, St. Edwards, ICC. They're going to be very, very tough match. Even Arizona State is going to be a very tough match to be able to take away and be able to win. We saw ASU earlier. They looked fantastic. They looked to be making a lot of adjustments after their loss earlier on in the season. And, I mean, they took the fight to St. Edwards earlier today. So this Western Division, this top-tier cut, it's going to be an absolute gauntlet towards the back half of this season, and I cannot wait to see how Western is able to kind of finish off here in this second stage.
I can imagine that stage 2 is definitely going to shake up a ton of power rankings for the CCL, but folks, that's going to be all for tonight. We got so many 3-0s throughout the Alpha Stream. We got a 3-1 to close this one out, but it has been nothing but dominance on Monday night. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow night. Hopefully they're not 3-0s, but like I said, we're going to do the same thing tomorrow night here at twitch.tv/collegecod and twitch.tv/collegecod Bravo. Make sure you follow. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. It's going to be the same place, the same time. We hope to see you there. Have a great night, everyone.